full moon in Aries and Libra season energy reading. Hey beautiful souls, welcome back to the With Love Cole YouTube channel. My name is Nicole and I'm a mom, a yogi, a wellness entrepreneur, human design reader, and so much more. And here I share about my life as a mom, my pregnancy journey, also what it's like to live as a 3/5 self-projected projector. So join me on learning human design, and if you love well-being and plant-based goods, check out my sea moss shop at Cole Apothecary, and of course follow me at all platforms at With Love Cole. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole, as you guys saw from my trailer. I'm a wellness entrepreneur, mom, and so much more. And on today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the full moon in Aries that will be happening on September 28th and 29th in 2023. So this full moon in Aries is actually our last supermoon of the year. And supermoons, as we know, are brighter because they appear to be about 10% more illuminated in the sky. And it looks as if it's closer to Earth. So we are getting more light, but we are also, more is coming up because the moon and this illumination tends to bring light on things that need to change. Sudden revelations, new information comes up usually during the full moon, or your awareness changes. Your perspective may shift because you're coming into new information as well. So full moons tend to be a time of activity because, as we know, like the sky is more illuminated at night during a full moon, but it can also be a time of choosing to pause and choosing to reflect and choosing to get rid of things and release things. So a mantra I have for this full moon is the attitude of gratitude, because as we are focusing on ourselves and prioritizing our personal improvement, this will change our attitude. And when our attitude is changed, we can remove from a place of feeling grateful, feeling thankful for what we have, and in so creating more prosperity, more abundance, and just more positive energy around us. Another mantra that I have for this moon is, you are what you say you are, a superstar. So we know that this full moon is in Aries, and it's really about the self, your personal identity, speaking up for yourself, standing up for yourself. The full moon is at 6 degrees. So what I find interesting about the 6th degree is it's a degree about abundance, but it's also the degree about possibly financial hardship. Another theme that comes up with the number 6 is conflict. Emotional energy. Gate 6 in human design is the gate of conflict, and it's all about your emotions, because we know that our emotions tend to be the thing that takes us out of our logical brain and causes the havoc. Also, Aries is ruled by Mercury. So with Aries being a very mercurial sign and also kind of like the first of the zodiac, Mercury rules communication, it rules identity, speaking for yourself, messages that you may receive. So these are all things that might happen. It might be a personal message or download that you're getting at this time. It might be one that's given to you, and it's very personal. So we have gate 17 and gate 18 transiting at this time. So the gate of opinions and the gate of judgment. So what I'm noticing on Twitter, social media, X, Threads, you know, all the apps, is that people are in their feels about sharing their opinions, being judged for their opinions, or feeling like, I'm gonna just say how I feel and go off energy. And you know, that can really be a positive energy for someone who's had a throat blockage or has had issues with people pleasing and expressing themselves. This might be a great time to stand 10 toes down in whatever you feel or however you feel you need to show up. Because, a little moth, because it is the perfect energy. And then you have the energy of Libra, which is going to help bring justice. Libra is also about balance and harmony and interpersonal relationships. So it could be that you may have been someone who was an overgiver who is now realizing like, nah, I need to stop that. The overgiving, people pleasing, or prioritizing other people before my own needs to change. And this is a very good full moon for ending that pattern or cycle and learning to prioritize yourself. And because we have Libra being in the sun at this time, it could be a really good time of learning how to navigate that in a healthy way. You don't have to be so individualistic and self-sufficient to the point that you're now bitter or angry because like that's not what you wanted to do. But rather, if you have an attitude of gratitude, see it as, I now get to choose myself and prioritize that, and also show up when I feel good and ready and happy. And yeah, that's a great energy to be in. So even when the transits sometimes show us things that we may feel like, ooh, that looks like it's negative. Like we know that astrology, like 18 degree, 22 degrees might be like, oh my goodness, someone gonna die. But it really can show up in so many different ways. It could be, I don't know, something way less, it can often show up as something way less traumatic than we think it is. But being aware of the energy and the themes that relate to the transits really help. And then of course, always looking at your natal chart. These videos are to go along with the information you already have of your personal chart or information you will choose to learn, because again, knowing what's in the sky but not also seeing how it relates to you can, not be the most beneficial thing. So here are some themes of the full moon. We have harmony, we have material, passion, excitement, purification, adventure, movement, and romance, because we know Libra is all about all things romantic. Another mantra I wrote for this full moon is letting go with ease, because part of choosing to be an individual and be someone who is of the self is understanding that part of individualizing is knowing when to let things go and to allow yourself to change, because part of that change and transformation brings you into a new identity and new awareness. Also, with the energy of Libra, we have the energy again of balance and harmony. So I think of Ma'at, which is an Egyptian goddess, and she has the 42 laws of Ma'at, which is all about balance and order and bringing things into cosmic order. So for you personally this month, it's very integral maybe to study goddesses and gods that teach you order, teach you cosmic balance, teach you nature cycles. It can be very helpful in understanding who you're meant to be, how you're meant to show up, your purpose in the world, and also intuitively learn from these archetypes. I know that for me personally, I've always been drawn of the Ifa tradition. It's always been Oshun that I've been drawn to. And then also when it comes to Egyptian or Egyptian mythology, I've always been drawn to Thoth or Tahuti. So this would be a great time to reflect on those two, Tahuti, especially with the mercurial energy. And then also we have Ma'at, balance and harmony. So I have not written my overall energy reading for my Instagram because usually I just read it here. So I'm just gonna talk about it with you guys. So overall energy for this month, or the energy of the full moon in Aries, is I compared it to the sunflower and the rose. So the sunflower reminds me of Aries energy, fiery, bright, playful, joyful. Aries also represents childlike energy. So we have that energy of maybe choosing to do your own thing or walking to the beat of your own drum, and not for the sake of like trying to fight or push against things, but truly for the sake of finding your own inner balance and harmony, and truly for the sake of finding more love in your life, because when you are focused on your self-love, it just magnetizes and attracts people to you. So with the rose, which is now represented by Libra, we have the energy of romance and love and like the juiciness of how that feels. And we see that both flowers are beautiful. Both flowers are magnetic energy. They are very attractive and they draw people towards them, but they both represent such different sides of us, like our playful, joyful side, our seductive, romantic side. If you're a woman watching this video, or anyone to be honest, any background, you may be experiencing that, learning to yoke those sides of yourself together. Like, I can still be young, fun, and playful, and I can be sensual and sexy as well. So now let's talk about the human design gates that are transiting this month. So we have in our conscious sun, gate 18 transiting, and gate 18 is the gate of judgment. So I'm going to read you guys a little excerpt for what I wrote and also possibly talk a little more on the energy. So for gate 18, we know that the gift of gate 18 is judgment, and then the city of the gene key is perfection. So judgment brings perfection because judgment helps sharpen us, and it helps correct us, and it actually helps bring society towards the world that we truly want to see. But we also know the shadow of this energy can be someone who's very intolerant of people who have different views or just like belief systems than them. So I wrote, we grow and learn through feedback and experience. This leads to perfection. Gate 18 is the programming partner of gate 17, the gate of opinions, and judgments are not the... Gate 18 is the program partner of gate 17, the gate of opinions. Judgments are not only for our survival, but also they help set a new benchmark showing what is meant to be left behind and what should move forward with us. This month, think of the past judgments you may have received and how you can use this information to better yourself while keeping true to your personal values and beliefs. In a world of free will, judgment can be a blessing leading us to paradise or a curse bringing us despair and hopelessness. Focus on judging what is of most importance to you, because I'm gonna say this. Too many people on social media are leaving their judgments and wasting their vital life force energy on topics and things, people, everything that doesn't concern them. And I feel like our energy can be way better utilized by sharing positives and the gifts and the beauty. But also sometimes we need people speaking out and speaking against really negative things, because this is how people can course correct. So judgment is a blessing and a curse. And again, there's a reason it's part of the 64 human behaviors, because it's necessary for life, right? When I was younger, I often was called judgy, and a big part of that probably had a lot to do with my Jehovah's Witness upbringing. And to a degree, I can see that because I was raised in such a sheltered environment. I really didn't have an understanding of how differently people can live, right? So part of my judginess was survival, because it was literally what my mom felt like I needed to learn and be a part of to survive and be healthy and not put myself in compromising positions or around people who aren't trustworthy. But then on the flip side of that, I hated that I was called judgy. So I was judged for being judgy, and I threw all of that out the window, and I was like, fine, I don't want to be considered judgy, so now I'm gonna just be down and like open and cool. And I saw that that also wasn't helpful for me, because that didn't serve me, and it actually also put me in really crappy situations, because I ended up becoming really naive and really trusting of people that were not deserving of it, right? So our judgment is our safeguards us, and it's okay to have a judgment, especially if it's a judgment that keeps you in your personal alignment and working towards your personal goals. Again, I think the beauty of my experience was part of the experience of being judged led me to leave the organization that I was a part of. And it also led me to create my own value system of what I think works best for me and what is in alignment with my true self. And I realized it wasn't quite what I grew up with, and it definitely wasn't quite what I saw outside, but I'm creating my own reality of what works for me, and that judgment system helps me create my community, right? So similarly, figure out what morals, values, what systems work for you, and stick to it. We know gate 18 is often related to the period of the inner teen life cycle, right? So we know the first 7 years of your life, you are building your it's like the developmental period, right? And then from 7 to 14, that's when your emotional self is building. And then from 14 to 21, that's when your mental self is building. So if your parent judges you during any of these stages, especially when you're going through the emotional and mental stuff, that judgment can really affect your ability to listen to authority or not. And that's kind of what I experienced. And then I had to learn that, yes, authority is needed. And as you step into adulthood, you become your own authority. But part of a parent creating that proper judgment is accepting the child for who they are, because that will then allow them to build a belief system and morals that work within who they are, and they can become their perfected self, because the point of judgment is for perfection. But before we can worry about laws and perfecting everybody else, it starts on an individual level of perfecting ourselves. All right, and that's all I have to say about judgment so far. So now let's talk about gate 17, the gate of opinions, often called opinions in human design. And we also know this gate as the gate of following in the I Ching, which is very interesting because opinions can lead to following, right? Like, in order for people to follow you or to be engaged or in agreement with you, the opinion first has to be shared. So let's talk a little bit about gate 17, opinions. So I wrote, the power of differentiation and individualism. This month you may receive admiration for your thoughts and your heart. In a world full of opinions, prioritize taking responsibility of your focus, because again, you can be very influenced following of other opinions. So be mindful of that. Focus allows our individualism to thrive, allowing our opinions and thoughts to take form and to direct our steps. In the Chinese I Ching, this gate is known as the gate of following. Having strong opinions, good or bad, will always lead to gaining a crowd. Focus on your intention and direction, and the opinions of others won't distract or deter you. The number 17 is also represented by the star card in tarot. So shining your light on your personal truths can make you a lighthouse for others on the path. So your opinions are valid, because that is literally why you're here. Your opinions are valid. And for a long time, I was so bogged down by the opinions of others and the opinions of the religion I grew up in, and the opinions of my parents, the opinions of family, and the opinions of friends, until one day I realized no one knew what the hell they were doing, and everyone is just out here trying. So really, when you are a life force that's come into this earth, you are meant to share your opinion, just like everyone else is sharing their opinion with you. And yes, I said that like that because I just hear so many people tell me about myself all the time. And I think it's because I'm a projector who wants to kind of listen and be teachable, because I know that when people are telling you this, it's really because there's something more they're sharing about themselves. But still, it can get really annoying to hear people tell you things that they really want to tell themselves. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this video up by talking about another mantra. For this in particular, I wrote a lot of little mantras. I think energetically that was in the space I was, and I just kind of wanted to give a very clear message. I love kind of like being someone who takes in a lot of information, and as projectors we absorb and then channel the truth I find in all of it, right? But this time I wanted to go about it a different way. As in the full moon of Aries, I wanted to kind of just channel and share. And I'm really happy I did. Going with my last mantra, letting go with ease. It is really good to allow yourself to be and focus on your personal identity. And when we do so, we realize like we tend to overcomplicate things because what we think it's supposed to look like or be based on what someone else is doing. And oftentimes the thing that makes you unique, makes you a star, makes you separate, is that the quality or thing that you bring that no one else has, that gift, right? So if that is you, show up and show out, because that's what the full moon in Aries is about. So I think that is the end of this video. It was a pleasure chatting with you about the full moon in Aries, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys more in the next video. And if you made it to the end, like, you're a real one, so you might as well hit subscribe.